Good morning, BookTube. My name's Nadine. How are you all today? I'm good. Very, very excited because today I'm taking my imaginary trip to Connecticut. Whoop whoop! All aboard! Ridiculous. I know. Anyway, that means it is time for my New York wrap up. So, for any of you that are new here, I've started a reading challenge with 6 prompts and it's reading the 50 states. So, my first month I spent in New York. So, the challenges. The first one was read a book set in the state, picked at random from a reading list. So, the one that was chosen at random was a reread for me, and that was American Psycho by Easton, Ellis. I finished this last night, and when I first read it, it would have been 18 or 19 years ago, something like that. And I remember it being violent, and I remember enjoying it. But I can't really say this time around whether I enjoyed it or not. I'm a very different person to the person that I was then. You know, now I'm a mother and I'm a grown up, you know? And the relentless sexual violence, particularly in this, it did feel relentless at times. I mean, I had planned on watching a movie last night to finish off my New York watching challenge as well. But because there seemed to be a bit of sexual violence in the movie from watching the trailer, I couldn't do it because I've read like 130 pages of this yesterday and I was done. So it follows Patrick Bateman, who's a hot, rich 27-year-old working in Wall Street, and inside he's just empty and occasionally, well, not even occasionally, like more and more and more full of rage. And he's evil. He is an evil person, and obsessed with brands and appearances, and you know, wearing the latest hot new things and going to that restaurant and having the best business card and all of that. Those are the things that obsess his day, that and how he can cause as much damage as he possibly can. And he is trapped himself in this cycle, and there are times that he says to people, you know, my life is a living hell and I'm going to gut you, and you know, stuff like that. And it's just completely over people's heads. They're not paying attention because they are also obsessed with staying in that restaurant and staying in the restaurant, well, stay in the restaurant if you like, eating in it and having the, you know, the nice things. It is a very well put together book. It is very unsettling. But you know, trigger warnings like all of them, so don't read it if you think that's going to be an issue for you. So I read that. So that is £1 in the bank. So again, if you're new here, I've for myself, I've put like little rewards in place so that at the end of the whole thing, I'll see how much is there and I can tick something off my real world bucket list. So additional reads, yes, there was one. I read Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which is a gothic tale following Ichabod Crane, who is a travelling teacher from Connecticut. And he's very superstitious and very popular in this little town. Especially with the women who like to tell him all the little ghost stories and everything that's relating to that area. And he sets his sights on the daughter of a rich landowner who is in a bit of a there ends up being a bit of a love triangle between her and him and like the local hero, Brom. And because Ichabod won't settle it with violence, Brom starts playing pranks on him. So it all comes to a head one night when Ichabod is leaving a party at Katerina, I think her name was Katerina's house, and he meets the legendary Headless Horseman. It's a very short story, so there's not too much that I can tell you about it. I enjoyed it. I've never read it before. I've seen the Sleepy Hollow movie with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci years and years and years ago. But yeah, that was also good. 50p for that one. I will be rich before we know it. So that was 1 and 1A. Number 2, watch a movie set in the state, 50p per movie. I watched quite a few actually. So the first one that I watched was Chud, which stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dweller, I think. It was right at the start of the month, I can't remember properly. It was something like that. So there is something killing the homeless on the streets of New York City. And I think the title tells you what that was. Then I watched I Am Legend. I did a video on I Am Legend in general before. I will link that down below. Then I watched Death by Temptation, which was a vampire. Vampire, was it vampire or demon? Demons. It was a demon. Again, set in New York City. Then I put on Amityville No Escape, which was awful even by my low standards for horror films, and I couldn't finish it, so that doesn't count. And then I watched Monstrous, which was a Bigfoot movie and other stuff, which was really good actually. I would recommend that. It was on Shudder, and so if it was on Shudder in the UK, I'm imagining it's on Shudder in America, because you guys have much better selection on there than we do. But that was a really good one. It was about a girl, her friend goes missing, and she decides to go and try and find out what happened. One of their other friends think it was Bigfoot that got her, but they find that she had answered an ad to give somebody a lift up into their place in the mountains. At this stage, honestly, I was like, mountains? New York, are you mad? Because I'm an idiot, but we'll get to that. But yeah, it was a really good film. And then I watched Amityville 2, The Possession, which is that one there, which I quite enjoyed. And then Paranormal Asylum, which started off well. It was about Typhoid Mary, and then it just went downhill in the second half. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies at 50p each. £3, mad math skills. And then challenge 3 was tick something off the bucket list. So I have my real life bucket list here. So read a book set in a specific area of the bucket list, or watch a film featuring a specific thing from the bucket list. None of that, because I've never been interested in going to New York whatsoever. So failed on that one. 5, eat like the locals, cook a dish from the state. I struggled with this because I had a look into different like popular foods from New York, and there seemed to be quite a lot that involved meat. And although I'm not a vegetarian, I'm not particularly a meat eater either. So I went for a cop-out one. I just got some bagels and loaded them with my favourite things, but I'm going to count it. So 50p. And then tourist video, discuss your trip on YouTube, doing it right now, 50p. Oh, travel to learn, I forgot that. 10 fun facts about the state. I haven't had time to do that, but I have been looking at lots of things to do with New York State, and I feel like such a fool. I'm going to link a video down below of the 10 must-visit destinations in New York State, and I recommend watching it if you've never seen anything about it, because it's lovely. It's lovely to see it with the video as well, and yes, actually see these places. But when I first said that New York was the first place that I was going, I said I have no interest in going there, so I'm quite happy for it to be the first place because then it gets it out of the way. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry because New York State is gorgeous and it's massive. In my head, the state of New York was NYC and maybe a little bit on the outside, you know, for the planes to land. Such a fool, honestly. Such a fool. It is massive. I did Google the size of it because, like, I was watching that film Monstrous and they were going up into the mountains and I was genuinely like, Bigfoot? Mountains? Are you mad? There's no mountains in New York. There are quite a lot of mountains in New York. You can ski in New York. There's skiing. There's loads of places for skiing in New York. There's just... NYC isn't even the capital, it's Albany. I know you're all sat there now thinking, yeah, idiot. I didn't know. I didn't know. I've never looked at the place because growing up, you see NYC on TV and that's it. And, you know, I grew up being told, well, you don't want to go there because if you go there, you'll be mugged. And so I've just never had an interest in it. But yeah, it's massive. So, I wanted to see how the state compares size-wise and stuff to England, because in my head it was NYC and massively overpopulated place, so why would I go? So New York, the state, 141,300 square kilometres. NYC is so tiny in that, it's 783.8 square kilometres. England is 130,279 square kilometres. This is all according to Google, so it's absolutely factually accurate. Population of New York State is 19.45 million. Population of England 55.98 million. So who's overpopulated now? So yeah, it looks amazing, absolutely amazing. So there was nowhere in New York that I wanted to go at the start of this, but it has actually... it's made the bucket list, and we were actually looking at taking a trip. I can't believe it. Yeah, so probably not next year because next year is already looking massively hectic. Maybe the year after. So yeah, anyway, that is my New York wrap up. I'm trying to be as brief as possible.